Hey guys, welcome back to another action figure review. Today we have a new toy company to look at, LADo Toys. With their new series called Mystic Land, we have Liya Alopex. The box features an open window showing their figure and the accessories with the artwork in a pixel art style theme. Over at the back we have the images of each figure's alternate face, an image of all the accessories, and Liya standing on her base with a few QR image codes at the bottom. We have warnings and technical information of the figure with the holographic sticker here at the bottom. At the top of the package we have this warning asking you to record yourself unboxing it for support. The figure's box comes completely sealed in a plastic wrap that you will have to destroy to get the figure out of. Removing the figure from the bottom allows you to slide out the entire plastic tray in one pull, where everything is neatly packed together with a few cards at the back. The final unboxing step is to remove all the plastic between the figure's joints, used to prevent paint rub during shipping. As a completely new series, LADo Toys has started the series with a fleshed out background on all the characters and the world of Mystic Land. In the world of Mystic Land, magic and sword fighting are a common practice, where the best at fighting and casting were also the most powerful. However, 50 years ago, ancient ruins were found, and in them were a hidden power of technological advancements, far more advanced than anyone has ever seen. With this discovery, an adventurers guild was formed to send more parties into these ruins and uncover more mechanical wonders to be studied at the guild's research centers. That brings us to Liya, who was born after the discovery. She grew up hearing stories of her father's adventures, and with an interest in new technology that was being uncovered. As an adult, she opened up her own repair shop, and while she gradually gained popularity and customers, she has always wanted to be an adventurer, and now has decided to go out on her own. Let's check out the details of the figure. Taking a look at her fox-like face, we have the bright yellow and orange anime-style eyes, glossy with a shine, messy gray hair that covers the side of her face, and her nose and mouth in a fox form, with more fur here being white. A small brown leather choker is worn at the neck. Over at the side we have a better look at the fox ears, coming out through the long flowing gray hair, with the inside of the ears having a fluffy white fur sculpted into this area. We can notice here a large single braid coming from the side of the head. Taking a better look at this braid, it reaches all the way down to the waist, sculpted with a thick strand of hair tied to a point with a white tie. Long straight flowing hair is sculpted at the back of the head, with large strands of hair layered over each other covering half of the figure's back. A brown leather tank top is worn at the chest, cut at the midriff exposing her stomach. The heavy leather is sculpted with a few wrinkles and two bronze buttons at the shoulder. Underneath the tank top we can see the painted on fur effects. White fur at the center painted in strands of hair on the gray body of fur. Turning around we don't have much more detail on the back. The hair here covers up most of the body, with the back of the tank top and body with little extra details here. On the right shoulder, we have a small tuft of hair sculpted at the top of the arm, with the bicep having a golden band wrapped around the arm. While the left arms are plain, only showcasing the small tuft of fur on the arm and slight definition of the muscles. At the wrist, we have a dark brown leather fingerless gloves, where the gloves are secured to the hands with a golden clasp, sculpted with fine details like knuckles showing through the leather and wrinkles in the leather. On the inside of the hand, the fingers form a fist, with gray fingers matching the skin color, and the nails painted in a dark gray. Over at the waist of the figure, we have a brown leather belt with copper buckles and silver notches, with a pair of goggles attached to them. Underneath the belt, we have blue shorts, with a torn effect towards the bottom showing off the white fabric underneath, sculpted with a wavy, baggy look. The stomach here can be seen sculpted with the navel, and the fur effect painted over with the inside of the body painted white and the fur hair effects on the side. Focusing on the side with the goggles, we can see that the lenses here are actually clear, letting us see through them, showing the pants underneath. It's a very nice effect. Over at the back, we first notice the large socket right under the belt. This will be used to install the figure's large tail later on in the review. We can see another smaller socket on the brown belt itself. This will be to install the tool bag as well. Taking a look at the thighs, just like the stomach, the inside of the thighs are painted white, with the fur effect at the edges spilling onto the gray fur in large strands of hair. We wrap up the details of the figure with the leather boots. Similar to the dark brown leather of the tank top, we have brown leather boots detailed with silver buckles, wrinkles in the sculpt, and a golden trim on the toes of the boot. Let's take a look at the articulation of the figure. Starting off, we have the head articulation that's surrounded by strands of hair. While we can rotate and look up and down, it starts to hit the smaller strands of hair, and while you can force the head past it, I'd rather not. We have this braided strand of hair that reaches down to the chest that can be rotated to the back or side of the body, but displaying it at the front will severely hinder the neck range. Again, you can place it towards the back for more range, but then you'll be hiding it. Moving on to the ears, they are on their own joint, allowing you to rotate and bend it all around. Starting off with the right shoulder, since the arm is surrounded by the most hair, you'll have to get creative to move the joints around here. While the left arm is free to open and rotate fully. We have rotation at the bicep, double jointed elbows that bend inward until the sculpt hits each other, wrists that rotate and bend up and down depending on joint orientation, a ball jointed chest allowing rotation and bending, and another joint at the waist having the same rotation and bending. The leg joints are unique so that you can pull them down to get extra range, allowing you to bend them forward and outward, but because of the design of the butt plate, there's not much range pushing back. You can then pop the legs back up for a better looking appearance. Hidden in the legs under the shorts is a cut for the thigh rotation. We have double jointed knees that bend back with a great amount of range. Ankles that rotate, bend up and down and twist. And we have a toe joint that bends upward. LADo Toys is in the 1/12 scale of figures, and Liya is 15.5 centimeters tall or just above 6.1 inches. We can see that next to a Figma, Liya is about half a head taller, but fits into the series just as fine, with her just being slightly larger than the Figma scale. Smaller Figma figures like Tracer look completely tiny next to Liya, so shorter figures might present a bit of scaling issues. Snail shell figures show up at the same scale, looking great with each other, with the biggest difference between the figures is mostly the art style and theme rather than the size of the limbs and body. LADo Toys are a 1/12 scale figure company, that instead of just having every figure at 6 inches, they accurately change the height depending on the character's actual height. Here they scale well with each other, with the height averaging around the same area and not looking out of place in your collection. Hasbro figures are also in the 1/12 scale, where figures are usually just 6 inches and a bit more bulky. Seen here, Liya scales very well with the Western figures, as her 15.5 centimeter size really does match the larger style of Western figures. Even across different series, she still fits in. And to compare her to some fantasy figures, Mythic Legions are on the larger side of the 1/12 scale, usually much larger than 6 inches thanks to that bulky armor and head sculpts. While Liya is smaller than the Knights, some of the other races like the Goblins fit in very well in both size and fantasy theme of the characters. Starting off with the accessories, we have a stat card made out of a nice thick textured paper showcasing the stats and information of the character in English and Chinese. We have a small pamphlet on warranty information and instructions on how to pose the figure, accessories, and faceplates. We start with an alternate faceplate, this one in a shy looking expression. The eyes are able to articulate using the pegs on the back. A angry growling expression faceplate with blue eyes that can also be rotated with the pegs on the back. And to go with the faceplates, we have a bag with the eye tool and spare wrist joints. Once you get the eye tool out, on my figure the eyes were locked into place, so it took a hot water bath to unstick them. Afterwards, you'll be able to easily move the eyes with the tool to repose them. Swapping heads is very easy to do. It's just like almost every other import figure. You remove the front hairpiece and then the faceplate. Now you can swap the plates and then cover it up with the original hair to finish the look. We have an articulated tail that rotates and bends at the tip and at the center. Just like the eyes, on mine the tail was frozen and required a hot water bath to free. We have a large peg at the end to attach to the body that bends up and downward, and you'll notice that the tail does have a bit of weight to it. Actually, let's weigh it. While handling the figure, I noticed that the tail was pretty heavy. Setting it on the scale, it shows the final weight as 45 grams. Now let's test the figure's overall weight. Putting her on the scale, it settles at 49 grams, meaning that the tail is almost as heavy as the figure itself. It does make the figure back heavy when installed. Matching the rest of the brown leather on the body, we have a tool bag with a small white peg to attach to the body that feels very thin and delicate. To install into the tool bag or just to hold, we have an adjustable wrench with a wooden handle, a flat head screwdriver, a regular style wrench, and a silver hatchet that's really reflective with a wooden handle. All of these tools can fit into the tool bag to give off an impressive filled look. The tool bag installs into the tiny notches onto the back of the figure. For me, this was an extremely hard thing to do, as the pegs did not want to fit into the sockets in all the way. And the front of the belt kept moving around. This would be something that I would have to install off camera and be delicate with. We have a few pairs of hands, starting with the grabbing position to hold onto the tools with, a set of rested hands in an open palm to lean onto a corner, and another hand that softly grabs with the thumb and middle finger, and a set of open palm hands for waving or a resting pose. As seen on her stats, we have a wooden training sword to raise her low combat level, and her wooden hammer used to craft things on the go. We have a base with a peg to stick onto the foot. It's themed after a cobblestone road and hollow on the inside. The feet socket into the peg tightly and have a nice effect, but this type of stand won't keep the figure secure with that large tail installed. A great first showing of LADo Toys. As a new company, they have a lot to prove and need to make a name for themselves. This style of fantasy characters in different species is what really pulls people in. It gives us an interesting theme to collect, blending in different animals and classes from RPG type games. Liya is a great start to the collection. It's a cute looking figure with a repair crafter theme that works great with the fantasy theme. The packaging is presented nicely, and the background story and interactive website is pretty fun to look at. I have a fair bit of confidence that this line will go far. With a good amount of accessories, the 3 alternate faceplates are unique enough from each other so that you can really change the expression of this figure, along with enough hands for most poses and tools to fill out that repair theme of the figure. The tail is something LADo Toys can really improve on. Simply put, it's too heavy for the figure. It will always be posed as a third leg, and right when you got my hands on the figure, I knew that it was too heavy for its own good. In my recent review of Blanca from LADo Toys, the large hair of Blanca was hollow and made of a soft rubbery plastic, something that may have worked well for this figure. While the articulation is really decent for this figure, you aren't getting any dynamic poses without balancing on the tail or using a stand. And the stand that it came with was a plate instead of an arm claw. So at least for me, she's going to be displayed with her tail as a third leg instead of a dynamic pose. Some of the finer details of the figure had paint bleed. Some of the gold spilled onto the arms, some of the faceplates had small blemishes, nothing too deal breaking, but at this price and with competition like Snail Shell, that's really something to improve on. At least for me, most of the joints on this figure were frozen. The tail joints, thighs, and all of the eyes on each faceplate were frozen and required a hot water bath to free up. Now, this isn't uncommon for figures these days, it's just I never really had to do it for most other import figures, and especially from Snail Shell. Overall, it's a really good figure. It's a great first start to a brand new series of toys, and it does its job as a cute fox girl really well. Sometimes my expectations might be a little high, and for this figure, I really wanted her to be a desktop toy that I can repose every day and mess around with. Thanks to that heavy tail and delicate parts like the tool bag, it's more of a figure that I'm going to pose and display rather than fiddle with every day. Now, that's not really a negative or fault of the figure, it's just my expectations when I had pre-ordered this figure. As a very pretty figure, fox girls are rare as it is, so this is a great figure to fill in that hole in your collection. And as long as LADo Toys keeps on improving, their future figures teased on the website look to be some amazing design for this series. My wish list for fixes would be more accurate paint, an actual claw stand, and more attention to design flaws like that heavy tail. She's definitely a great figure. There's only very small issues that would stop me from even calling this a perfect figure, but she does her job very well as a cute fox repair girl. Alright guys, that's it for this review. Leave a comment letting me know how you like this figure, subscribe or share this video with your friends to help out the channel.